Sorry, that was just the Fallout beard right there. You know, the one that no one sees. You know, all you see is the clean up version right now. You know what I'm saying? That's like the type of beard I would wear on The Walking Dead if I was on that show. You know, but you know, of course I would die because I'm black. Fallout. I wanted this to be. It's still a janky mess. Okay, you would think that Skyrim was gonna be the last time you would see a giant hold the power to send you to heaven. But no. Ooh, the jank force. It just runs through Todd's veins.
All of this just works.
This is not Fallout. This is a city building simulator. Like, this is one of the most beautiful game worlds that you can just go around and collect junk for 90% of the time. And it could be a little addicting. And also, like, where's the story, though? As you can see, I'm having an inner fight with myself. I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. Let's talk about it.
I hug them and I squeeze them. They don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I roam around.
Fallout 4 takes place 6 years after New Vegas, but starts just before the bombs drop in 2077. And without getting into any spoilers, you emerge 200 years later out of Vault 111, searching for your When you step out of the vault for the first time, you're gonna notice that this game looks pretty good. I mean, maybe like the textures are not 100%, but the open world is the best in the series. Finally, Bethesda used the whole crayon box and not just the depressing colors. And you know, the first thing I tried out was jumping. And finally, they put a little bit more work in, so it won't look horribly awkward. And that's not all. The gun animations for the recoil and reloading just hits the sweet spot. No more sidewalking, terminals and your Pip-Boy feel like a physical object instead of just a menu popping in your face. The faces even look better, even though the animations are kind of poorly done. I mean, look how cool the ghouls are animated and the Terminator robots, but the regular humans look like robotic mannequins?
Dr. Orman's lecture on cold fusion was nothing short of a revelation.
You realize this a lot in the new way you have conversations with characters. Instead of getting sucked into another dimension, now the game starts to look like a cutscene with different camera angles and everything. But you can actually just get out of it at any time just by moving your character. This is much better than freezing time like the previous games. But sometimes, you know, enemies will attack you while you're talking, or NPCs will just walk in front, like, you know, whatever, we're not talking here. It's fine because it doesn't really happen as much, but my problem is the dialogue options are pretty thin. Yeah, that's it, just a fantastic 4 options because the main character is voice acted. They don't even spell out what you're going to say. Someone took time out of their day to create a mod that spells out everything. And even with that, what he has to say is pretty boring most of the time. You might as well just click sarcastic all the time.
Who are you?
I guess it doesn't help that the voice acting is only passable most of the time.
Ashes, go home. Aaron misses you.
I think I have a certain standard after playing big, heavy voice-acted games like The Witcher and Mass Effect and Dragon Age. And the cherry on the cake for Bethesda games are always the polish. The polish is never there. The characters still cut each other off. The characters tend to repeat themselves every time you talk to somebody. And the jankiness makes it worse.
Now it's your job to make it more than an empty title. I've gotten word about a settlement that's being threatened by raiders. I'll mark it on your map. Go find out what they need.
Like what happened to the Fallout Wonder and Discovery that New Vegas and even Fallout 3 had? That special organic questing feel when you're going out to complete one quest, then you get another interesting quest and you get another interesting quest, but then by the end of the day, you played all these wacky quests and you haven't even touched the main story. No, this is a different game entirely. This is not the usual go out, explore, and find unique quests. No, most of that has been replaced with repeatable busy work. Most of the time when you find a new place, it's shoot first and don't ask questions later because everyone's dead. They even have a boss at the end of these areas to get a chance at a rare drop. Which is not necessarily a negative, but in this context, where's the story at? I guess I could read the many terminals, but this is not Destiny, this is Fallout. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't get addicting, to keep going down there, picking up every piece of crap you can find to bring it back to your settlement so you could pimp out your house with a new b-ball hoop. But I thought the settlement housing feature was, just a little appetizer, not unlimited breadsticks. Anyways, now you can own settlements if you clear out the baddies in the area or you do a quest for people who are already living there. You can take over that settlement. In the beginning, doing the Minuteman quests that are connected to the main quest will grant you your first settlement, and from there you can branch out. At the settlement or even through your Pip-Boy, you can see whatever your settlement needs. Food, water, beds, defense, all of these things cost components. You get these components from all the junk you pick up while you're exploring. Finally, they have a reason for you to pick up all this crap. And it's damn good. So you'll be running out of space the entire time you're playing. You'll be spending hours going back and forth, making sure your settlers are set up right. But it gets out of hand when all you want to do is story missions and you keep getting these pop-ups telling you your base is under attack. Every time you do one, another one pops up. Most of the time it's just the same quest. Go here, kill this. Go here, kill that. Help us even though we have 1,000,000 turrets in our camp. The beginning process of learning what you can do with your settlement is a bit overwhelming. Making sure you have enough food, water, and beds for new settlers to come, giving jobs like running stores and supply lines to other towns so you can have your full collection of junk so you can build up other towns, and somehow keeping them all happy so they won't leave your town. I spent hours figuring all this stuff out, and I don't know if it was worth it just for the sake of convenience. And, doing all these quests, I don't know if it was worth not wanting the NPCs to just get brutally murdered and having to clean up the body yourself after. And that's not the only part that's a little rough in the beginning. While you're collecting loads of crap, which is 90% of what you're going to be doing in this game, it's a lot harder, almost unfairly hard at times. You'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden, rocket to the face. It doesn't matter if you want to check if it's a friendly NPC or not. No, everyone is evil, just kill everyone. Because of this and healing items healing over time, it feels like you have more use for your items now. Like I actually use my food and maybe, a little bit of drugs, a little bit of chem on the side. Wet my lips. At first, I was a little frustrated not being able to complete an area because I couldn't get through these stupid super mutants. But then I actually started to really enjoy myself after I learned the way you can build your character. This is where Fallout really spreads its cheeks. The gameplay. Fallout has a new leveling system which unlocks perks based on how many points you have in each individual stat. So if you only want certain perks in each line, all you have to do is put points only in the stats you want. You can even dump all your points into one stat and get the highest perk right away. It hits the sweet spot of satisfaction even though you can't open every single door that you come across right away, because there isn't a level cap and you level pretty quickly. I would say the only thing was picking whether I wanted to pick perks that would help me build up my settlement or pick some fun perks. You could say it's a good thing that I'm having a tough time picking perks, especially because they're simplified like the Rifleman perk. Non-automatic rifles do 20% more damage. Not only regular guns, but also energy weapons too. In the previous games, it was an entirely different skill, and the icing on the cake is that all ammo is simplified as well. And you're gonna want to have bullets because the gunplay is pretty solid. Guns have a nice weighty, meaty feel and gives off a nice satisfying slap when you take a limb off of a ghoul or pop a head off a random settler. And even though I'm not much of a melee guy, it actually feels like you're hitting something this time. VATS feels a lot more natural to use in combat, especially because you can only do critical shots inside of VATS. They even made power armor amazing. Listen, any game that I can drop down from a high place and slam the floor like that gets an 8 out of 8 immediately. Instead of it being the best in-game armor, it's a suit that you have to power with a limited resource you find around the world, adding real value to using it when the game decides to throw 100 grenades and a fat man at you. You can even collect pieces and modify multiple power armor suits. And having them all lined up like that with different parts, it's so sexy. You can also customize your weapons in every piece of your armor. Modding your weapons is great. You can even name your weapons, but armor crafting and the new armor system in general, just forced me to make choices I didn't want to make. Do I want to look good in cutscenes, or do I want to protect myself with a lot of armor and look like I have a watermelon on my head? There isn't a hide your helmet option, which should be in every single RPG, and you can't mod full body armor or clothes. Only single pieces. It would have been cool to see my guy in an armored pink dress or something, you know, instead of looking like he's wearing a cage for Halloween. By the way, the crafting is amazing. So when you find like a big room with a bunch of loot inside, you're like licking your lips.
Looks like the holidays have arrived early this year.
And they knew you were gonna grab everything in sight, because who knows what components you get from a blowtorch, like rare screws that you need for everything? No, just steel and oil. Because of that, you're able to mark components that you're lacking with a little cute magnifying glass that appears next to junk. And can I say, looting things have never been better? First, they made most of the game open world. You can go inside most houses without a loading screen. And now you can loot anything from a container just by looking at it. Seriously, the best feature in the game. And you do get some help with carrying all this crap from your companions.
Sure. Make me carry more of your junk.
And some of them are the equivalent of a donkey. Seriously, the only black guy is a companion, the other one is a dang robot, and he has a terrible personality and voice actor.
Damn. Like one of those old pre-war ghouls. You say you were frozen. Anybody else make it out with you?
It's no secret that I've never cared for the companions in Fallout because Bethesda just doesn't know how to do them right. All they do is silently judge you from the sidelines, and when they do talk, which is rare, the person you're talking to doesn't even acknowledge that they exist, like you have an imaginary friend walking around. But in this case, we do have some actual good characters like Piper, Nick, and Carrie. Oh, I love Carrie.
Please tell me, Yahoo?
I just wish they gave some of these characters a little bit more time in the oven, because I don't even know why they have a thoughts button there. Like, they just spit out random garbage. The only meaningful dialogue you get here is when you get enough likes on your Facebook page, and then they start to get real personal with you. And eventually you can even get romantically involved. But no, there isn't a Netflix and chill dialogue option like The Witcher and Mass Effect. Also, I should mention you can only have one companion at a time, so don't think you can get some unique interaction between them. So you're going to have to dismiss the one that you have in order to grab a new donkey. And man, does it sound so brutal.
For you, I have time.
It's about time for you to go.
All good things must end, I suppose.
Like, I'm not the type of dude to eat 2 gummy bears at the same time so they don't die alone, but it pulls on my heartstrings a bit because, you know, it feels like I'm gonna lose them forever. But it's fine because you could just send them to your home settlement. Just make sure you build a bell, because companions and settlers that should be working at the stores tend to play hide and seek. Despite the jankiness, it feels like they spent the whole time working on the gameplay, because the gameplay is solid, and they just stuffed some story stuff at the end like they forgot the eggs in the cake. Don't get me wrong though, it really does have some really cool characters and a few good quests that pop up out of nowhere, especially if you read the terminals.
This is Diamond City Radio, and I'm, it's me, Travis. Anyway.
But it's not enough to say I really enjoyed the story of this. Now, what I really enjoyed was creating a fortress and decorating my Gucci pad while my settlers sleep inches away from each other in a house that barely has a roof. Now, I've never been a hardcore ultra mega modding type of guy, and that's probably why I look at Fallout 4 so differently than people who actually do. But I think this will be the game that gets me into modding because the foundation is pretty solid. And for everyone else in the world who don't use mods, this is one janky piece of...
Does this Brahmin really belong to you?
What?
The gameplay, the looks, the music, good, fantastic. The jank and the story. Does the good outweigh the bad in terms of enjoyment for $60? For me, maybe more leaning to yes, but I wouldn't gasp if someone said they hated the game. The main reasons why I play Bethesda games is not only just exploring, but just finding these side quests along with it, and just keep going through these different areas and finding the story behind these different areas. In terms of that in Fallout, it's half-baked. Like, one does not simply take out banana bread before it's a dirty, delicious brown.
Yeah, boy.
It seems like Bethesda never changes.